Okay, so we've now watched the cash flow forecasting lesson, and we've also seen the video where I demonstrated how to complete the cash flow forecast. Here we've got a slightly more complicated version, and in a minute you're going to have a go at filling that in. So shortly I'm going to ask you to stop the video, have a go at filling this in, and then turn the video back on so you can check how you've got on. The difference in this one is that we've now got cash and credit sales, and when we go through the case study we're going to see why that's relevant. Cash flow forecasting generally, one of the things that can get you into trouble with your cash flow is if you allow customers to pay on credit, and you have costs that go out before you make a sale, but then you don't get the money from that sale straight in. So let's have a look at the case study here about Steve. Steve is starting a food retail business. He intends to start in January with a £4,000 bank loan and £1,500 of his own money he saved. His bank has asked him to prepare a cash flow forecast for the first 6 months. His research suggests that his sales revenue will be £1,000 in January and increase by £500 each month. From February, half his revenue will be from credit sales a month in arrears. He has costs of £500 a month for rent, £700 for ingredients, £1,300 a month for wages, and £200 a month for advertising. His bank loan repayments start in February and are £100 a month. In February and May, he will have to pay an instalment of £2,000 for a piece of kitchen equipment he has leased. So the important difference here from what we looked at last time is this credit sales thing. So if we look here, from February, half his revenue will be from credit sales. So it tells us that sales revenue will start as £1,000 and then increase by £500 each month. So in February, he's going to have sales of £1,500, but only half of that's going to get paid in February. The other half will be paid as credit sales in March, and the same each month after that. So whatever the revenue has gone up to, half of it will be done in cash, the other half they'll get a month later in credit sales. So if you want to pause the video now, copy down the cash flow forecast, have a go at filling it in yourself, and then start the video again to see the explanation of how it should be filled in. Okay, so hopefully you've had a good go at completing this, and now you can follow along and see how it should have been done. So our opening balance is £5,500 because of the bank loan and the £1,500 that he has of his own money. Sales are going to be £1,000 in January. Then when they go up to £1,500, he's only going to receive half of that money in the first month, in February, the second half in March. March he has £2,000 of sales, but £1,000 of that is cash and the other £1,000 credit sales in April. In April, again, half received as cash sales, the other half the following month. And that carries on through until June. The other half of June's sales will be paid in July, but because we are worried about his cash position here, we don't take it into account. We can then go through and do all of these totals. And that gives us the total amount of cash that's coming into the business for each of the first 6 months for Steve's business. So, cash out. Rent is £500. So we go ahead and we fill that in for every month. Wages, £1,300 a month for all of his staff. So again, you should have that for every month on your forecast that you filled in. Make sure you fill it in accurately. One of the things that we've been finding is that if you make a small error and then you carry it through, then it makes the whole forecast slightly out of whack. So we've got £200 for advertising. Ingredients we said were going to be £700. Equipment. He doesn't pay that every month. We've just got these 2 instalments, one in February, £2,000, and one in May. And then his loan repayments. They don't start till February, but they're every month and they're £100. Okay, so now we can go through and do the totals for the outflows. So we've got 2,700 for January. We've got another 2,700 plus the 2,000 is 4,700 and 4,800. And we know that we've got the same figures for May, so we can go ahead and do that one. Now this should be the same, but the only addition is the loan payment, so we know it's £100 more than his normal outgoings, and then that will be replicated in the other months. So now we can go through and work out the net cash flow. Remember, we're doing total in minus total out here. So in this first month, he actually has a minus cash flow of £2,700. Now February's been a bad month for him because it's the first month where his credit sales have happened and he's had to pay for his equipment. So he's actually got a negative cash balance in February of £4,050. In March, £1,700 in, but again, it's still a negative cash balance, negative cash flow for the month of £1,050. April, he starts to close the gap a little bit, and it's only a negative cash balance of £550. He would have hoped by May that he would have started turning the corner, but again, because he's got an instalment for the kitchen equipment, it's actually a net cash loss of £2,050. And in the final month, it's the first time he actually records a positive cash flow for the month of £450. So we can now go through and do the closing balance. Remember, we take the opening balance and add it to the net cash flow. So here we've got 5,500 minus 1,700, so it's 3,800. That then becomes the opening balance for the next month. But again, we're taking away, and we've got quite a big figure, so we've actually already got a negative cash closing balance of £250. So straight away in the second month of trading, he's already seen all the cash that he had to begin with go out of the business. So we've got two minus figures. Here is the opening balance and here is the net cash flow. So we add those together to give us what our new minus cash balance is. Again, that goes up there. Again, we add. That becomes the opening balance. Add once more. And this month is the first time he's actually managed to record a positive cash balance, but we've got a huge negative opening balance, so all it does is slightly reduce the level at which the cash balance is negative. So if we should have a final closing cash balance of 3,450. Now, given that the bank have lent him £4,000 in the first place, that's quite worrying after 6 months. That suggests that he's going to need a £4,000 bank loan and a £4,000 overdraft. Because if you look here, he's got a minus cash balance of 3,900. What the bank are probably going to ask to do is see his figures for the rest of the year to see if this situation significantly improves, because based upon this information, with more money going out than's coming in, they're probably not going to want to take the risk of lending him that money. Hopefully, you guys were able to get the same figures that I've got there and fill it all in and work it out correctly. If you have any questions about it or you're still not feeling confident about it, let me know.